Welcome to JasonWhiskyWise, myself Jason, bringing you whiskey review number 97, where today we're going to review the Glenlivet 12-year-old. So, recently a lot of people have been asking me to review some of the core expressions, and one of my favourite ranges is Glenlivet's range. So I'm going to review the 12 today. As you can see, this is Mr. Bananas. If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, which I believe down below, and hit the notification bell so you get always the new videos. Now this is Mr. Bananas. He is my sort of sidekick and partner in crime when it comes to doing whiskey videos. So sadly I couldn't get anyone else because everyone else is busy trying to stay dry for January. So first whiskey review of 2018 will be the Glenlivet 12, and then we'll do the 15 and 18 to follow up. Maybe the 21 and 25. I do have bottles of those, but I'm holding them out for my birthday, so we'll have to see how that's going. But Glenlivet 12, if you haven't seen how a full bottle looks, I'll leave it just over there. Now, Glenlivet is pretty much one of those whiskies from Speyside, very well known around the world. And initially they discontinued the 12-year-old here in the UK. I believe UK and Germany was discontinued for around about a year and a bit. However, they have announced that I believe they are going to be reproducing it, and in that period of time, as a sort of replacement, they had the Founders Reserve, which is also another very, I'd say, great entry-level whiskey, or sort of easy going into the Glenlivet range. So, we'll first start off with getting into the nose, but without further ado, I want to do my review style structure. So, if you're new to my channel, we start off with the age of the whiskey, which is a 12-year-old whiskey, bottled at an ABV of 40%. The cask selection of this one are traditional and ex-American oak casks, to what I've read online. The distillery itself is the Glenlivet Distillery, which I shall be visiting hopefully in summer this year, or maybe next month. They are owned by the company of Pernod Ricard, and then they are located in the Speyside region of Scotland. Now, if you follow me as well on social medias, which I will link just over here, I do travel quite a bit around Scotland and around the world, so Glenlivet is one of the distilleries I'd like to visit later on, hopefully, I'd say in a few months' time, because I'm going back to Scotland. Now, in terms of the pricing point, this is around about, when it was in the market here in the UK, it was around about £40. I think £40, 44 was the top price I saw on it. So that was for the 70 CL. In terms of exclusivity, was it exclusive? No, it is a core expression, and it was the youngest entry-level expression for Glenlivet at that point in time. Now, in terms of caramel color, we do not know that, so at 40% there's a possibility. However, it doesn't state it here on the back, so it could be all natural. So we'll leave that as an A. So without further ado, let's begin by assessing the nose in the whiskey. Into the nose. So to begin on the nose of this whiskey, it does start out quite nice and inviting. It's got that character of freshly cut pineapples, very sort of nice and exotic fruits, a little bit of poached pears. And these are like those green conference pears you get here in the UK, very sort of soft, but as soon as you sort of poach them and you simmer them in the heat, they just sort of melt. There's a slight note of heathered honey right behind it, and that sort of got that nice floral essence along with the little bit of a sweeter character of fudge, maybe a sticky fudge. And there's a slight little bit that sort of remains very consistent throughout the whole nose, from the start to the finish, as of a citrus zest. It does remain there, and it stayed very consistent. I was trying to ignore it just to find those other notes as I dig deeper, but that citrus zest remains very consistent, and it's like an orange, ripe orange citrus zest. So I think that's about it for the nose. Let's move into the palate next. So to begin on the palate for this whiskey, it's got a very nice citrus zest, and this is now grapefruit. I was thinking oranges at first. It's a little bit more bitter, and then it sweetens out. It rounds itself with a nice citrusy character. A little bit of spice to introduce itself on the palate. It is only 40%, but the spice is more towards, I'd say, a nutmeg. A little dash of nutmeg, with a nice sort of buttery vanilla character coming through. It does have a slight note of green apples, and these are like, I'd say like an apple strudel, but a bit with the skins left on. It's not completely sweet, but there is a slight note on the background over there that sort of reminds you of having that little bitter outer skin of an apple. I'm going to have a second sip, because this is really, really quite nice. So from the second sip, I'm picking out a little bit more of that. I was thinking it's a bitter character. It's actually a little bit more of a spice. I wouldn't say it's bitter. It's more like a little crackle of pepper, which sort of just adds to the palate character. And there's now like a almost, I'd say a summer fruit strudel or a pie if you're in the United States. You've got apples, you've got sort of like grapes, raisins, rhubarb, all these different characters in the mix, really giving a little bit of every single little bit of flavor to this one, and a little bit of the sweetness coming through from sort of like a pastry, sort of sprinkled over with a bit of sugar. And these are big sugar chunks. Very nice palate. Let's move into the finish of this whiskey. Cilantro. So for the finish for the Glenlivet 12, this one's got a very, I'd say, a fruity finish to it. Not long, not short. It's just right in the middle, hitting a medium finish. Staying rather consistent. The texture was not heavy. It was just nice and light and inviting, which I found really enjoyable. So overall, my comments, and I'm going to give my rating. So I'm going to go straight over here. And this is an easy decision. This one's getting here an 85 out of 100. Keep that over there. Glenlivet 12 is going to get an 85 out of 100. I found it overall a very nice, well-balanced, a very inviting dram. It's a very good introductory whiskey if you're sort of getting into Scotch and the world of single malt. In terms of value for money, do I feel it's worth its money? Around about £40? Yes, because I've had many whiskies around about that price which have just been not that great, but this one is very well balanced and very well put together with the different characters and not being overpowering on the palate. At the same time, does it need time, this whiskey, to open up? You can give it that. However, it's perfect just from the glass. Straight away from the bottle to the glass, it works its wonders. And at the same time, does it need a few drops of water in the mix? You can add it if you don't want that little bit of spice. However, if you have it neat, you'll be able to enjoy all the flavors that was intended. So on that note, I'm going to wrap the video at that. If you have enjoyed, feel free to drop it a thumbs up. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're new here and if you haven't already subscribed. And I'll leave some other Glenlivet videos here on screen. I've got the 18 and the 15 to come up next, and maybe the 21-25 as a surprise appearance. Who knows? But on that note, this has been Jason WhiskyWise. This has been Mr. Bananas, and we'll catch you all for the next video. Cilantro.